Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. The fourth brake light module has been a popular modification for our 2015 through 2016 customers ever since we installed one a while back. If you're not familiar with this module, what it does, it takes your factory low-mounted reverse light and converts it into a parking light and a brake light while still retaining an LED reverse light function. It gives the car a very cool custom look, some said very reminiscent of like a Formula One car. With that race-inspired look, be right at home to put this on the new Shelby GT350. If you're wondering if it'll work, it absolutely will. It's a little bit different to install though, so we're going to walk you through it today using this 2016 GT350. The fourth brake light module is pretty easy to install, and it's going to fit all 2015 through 2016 Mustangs, including the GT350 and the GT350R. The difference with the Shelby is a little more involved. There's one or two additional steps, but overall the installation is pretty much the same. The bulb's going to install in the factory location, and this bulb will work as an LED white backup light, but will also work as a red parking light and a bright red brake light. For this installation, you need a lift or a jack and jack stands, 3/8 ratchet, 13mm socket, small flathead screwdriver, and a panel removal tool. You start the installation by popping the trunk, and we're going to remove the cover for the inflation device. Next, we've got to remove this rear panel by removing these 4 thumb screws. There's going to be 2 on each side. Okay, now this panel, you're going to kind of pull it forward towards the front of the car and kind of lift up. I should mention at this point, if you do have a factory subwoofer in your car, you are going to have to remove the subwoofer to install this part. It's only a few bolts, it's very easy to remove, but get that out of the way, then we can actually tilt this forward, and you can see the plug. We're going to install the module on the passenger side that has the wire coming off of it. They're both the same, they are interchangeable, but it's a lot easier to fish the wire over on the passenger side than the driver's side. Now in our case, I should mention, we already have taillight sequencers installed. You have the sequencer installed, there's a specific order you want everything to go in. You want to separate down here at the harness side. So the sequencer goes to the tail lamp, and then we install the fourth brake light module. And that gets plugged into the chassis harness. Now we'll fish the main wire across to the other side. Just follow the factory Ford wire and come back and zip tie it later. And then the same thing over here. Let's connect at the chassis side. Make sure the sequencer goes right to the light. And plug that in. This wire here is going to be fished down to your actual backup light and get plugged in as part of the fourth brake light module. The reason we went with the passenger side with this, there's a rubber plug in the floor of the spare tire well area that's not being used. We can remove that, punch a hole in it, and fish this wire through it. This is what we're talking about right down here. This is a normal body plug, so we can actually remove this and then punch a hole in the middle. Now you want to punch a hole in this body plug. You can use anything you want to cut a hole in it. The little screwdriver they provide actually works fine. Push that through, give it a little tear so you get enough room there. You can fish the harness through that opening. I'll fish it through the cut we just made. And put the wire down through the hole in the floor. Give yourself about 18 inches to 2 feet or so of wire. We'll fish that down there. Reinstall the plug. Now next step, move under the car. Now this is where the install is going to be unique to the Shelby. In the case of the Shelby, you have a belly pan on the back. The belly pan is going to have to be removed first so we can get up to the actual reverse light. To remove the belly pan, you're going to have 6 push pin clips, 2 Christmas tree clips, and then 4 bolts. 2 bolts back here, and then 2 more up front. Push pins out of the way, we'll remove the 2 rear bolts. And the two front bolts are going to be right up here underneath the exhaust hangers. Don't worry about removing these two, because when you do remove them, there are little metal hooks that hold the front in place still. Now we'll remove the Christmas tree clips from the back here. You want to make sure you remove this. Remove it flat. If you've ever driven your Shelby pretty much at all, you're going to have some rocks and gravel up in here. Let's see, here's our red wire we fished down earlier. You just kind of push this off to the side for now. Now what you want to do is reach up in here, underneath the valance, below the heat exchanger for the diff cooler, and you're going to unplug the light. What you do is you turn it, just remove the whole light assembly. You can easily do the install right here actually, but we want a little more room to show you what we're doing, and if you want more room, reach up and pop off this little white clip. Now we're going to disconnect the bulb from the actual plug, move the housing aside. We'll go back to this in a minute. This is the factory plug. You'll notice there's wires on both ends, but the middle is empty. Take the supplied screwdriver, you want to basically push up the middle here and remove the little rubber plug in the center. If you look very closely at this harness, you'll see the metal clips that are already in there. You want to match the orientation with the new one. You'll notice there's a little slot at the top, the same way these are as well. That's the way you want to stick it in the back here. Okay. What you'll do is put that up into place. Then use the screwdriver to kind of push it through. You'll hear it clip. You'll feel it clip into place and make sure that the red seal pushed firmly in. Next, grab the socket, remove the factory bulb, install the new switchback. I'll plug it into the factory wiring, click it in place. At this point, it's a good idea to test it before we put everything back together and hide all the wiring. Easy thing to do is grab your keys and hit unlock. You know, you got it right, you'll get the bright light for the brake light and the dimmer light for the parking light. We know it's working properly. Okay, now we're going to put the light back up into place. Turn it to lock it in. Now we're going to hide our wires. We're going to pull the wire off the side here and tie it up to a factory harness. Okay, with the wires hidden, now we can put the belly pan, rear belly pan back up into place. We're going to install both the front bolts. And then the 6 push pins. Now we can move back to the trunk. With everything connected, now we can reinstall the rear trunk panel. Should get it all lined up. And reinstall the thumb screws. Then the last step, reinstall the cover for the inflator. And your installation is finished. Here you can see the 4th brake light module will first start as a parking light. You can see it as a brake light. And then finally is a white LED reverse light. The 4th brake light module is one of those cool little modifications that most people don't know are going to think came from the factory. It adds the light really ties the back of the car together. It's great to add the additional brake light. It's going to add some more safety for you, which is never a bad thing. and overall it just looks cool. Let's get a nice ultra white LED backup light. The installation is pretty straightforward. One wire to fish, not so bad. Take you about an hour. Be back on the road in no time.